The prominence of Sauron has been one of the biggest discussion topics as of yet around this upcoming Rings of Power show, which is debuting now in just under a month. So in the lead up to the drop of the first few episodes, let's evaluate everything we know about Sauron so far, and who and what character he could be in the show. Please make sure to like and subscribe, but without further ado, let's get right into it. Sauron, also known as Narrator, the Lord of Gifts, is fundamental to the Second Age adaptation, and especially within this first season, we will be playing Where Sauron or Spot the Sauron, as his involvement so far has been a mystery, and today we will try to crack it down. There are many characters that could be Sauron, and we will go through each one of them individually, starting off with Adar. Adar, being played by Joseph Morley, who is said to have adopted a method actor approach for this role of the evil and twisted elf, is the prominent big baddie of this first season. But does that make him Sauron? Well, what do we know about Adar? Firstly, we know that he was an elf that at some point got corrupted and twisted and was then eventually turned into a warlord and villain, and is the figurative father of the orcs, and they all look up to him, and from what little we have seen of him so far, this has turned into fruition, and in this scene we could even see them chant his name, Adar. Here we see the orcs bowing down to him as he is their leader and quote father figure. So if he is their leader but a twisted elf, then surely he can't be Sauron, right? Well, that is a clear conclusion, but we will get back to this point later on in the video. The obvious scenario here is that Adar is the big bad of the first season, but in reality there is a growing threat of Sauron behind him and all this. Is Adar and the supposed Sauron figure working together? Probably yes and no. Again, I will explain this afterwards, but for why I said no, this is because Adar seems like he's on his own path and own journey in Tirharad and is after a talisman, not trying to reclaim and conquer Middle-earth. But as to why I say yes, we will get back to that soon. The final question here is, how and why did Adar get corrupted? Did Sauron corrupt him, potentially in the late first stage, and Adar was originally a good elf, maybe potentially even one in this scene here, then got captured, tortured and corrupted? We shall see. The next figure or figures that are in the running of potentially being Sauron, or more so related to him, is this priestess character that we saw in the trailer. Could this be the character who is behind everything and the actual big bad of the season, whereas the audience will see Adar as the alias villain? Unlikely, but not impossible in regards to their association with Sauron. Could this be his followers and the people that are looking for him and looking for his return? That is one take on these characters. The other one is that they have been sent by Sauron, and instead we have Sauron as a more behind the scenes villain in this first season. He is there, but he's sending these priestesses as, let's say, his henchmen doing his bidding, or even having his spirit within them somehow. Hence why they are able to perform magic. This last part of his spirit being split is something we will get back to later on. The next candidate is Halbrand, who is being played by Charlie Vickers. We have been given hints from a while back now, even from February this year, that he might not be the best of characters in this show, especially this of course quick spoiler warning moment where he either causes the shipwreck or does an act by saving Galadriel, whereby the rest of people on this shipwreck die. And if you look at this picture beforehand and then the afters, where have all these people gone, I wonder? How come there's only him and Galadriel left in the raft? But is it as simple to just say Halbrand is Sauron and the true mastermind behind all this? Let's evaluate that now. The premise of having Sauron being the character next to Galadriel for the entirety of the season and ending up being the big baddie all along, wouldn't be that far of a reach from a storytelling standpoint if that ends up being McPain's plan due to the irony of the whole situation. Galadriel is looking for evil and that evil's under her nose the entire time. We also learn that Galadriel does not have the gift of foresight so far from one of the more recent interviews with the showrunners, which begs the question, is this why she was unable to put together that Halbrand is Sauron? Of course, in the lore, Galadriel, along with Gil-galad, had the feeling that this Annatar fellow shouldn't be trusted, but here, could it be that she does get fooled and maybe this is a lesson for her? That's one way to put this together. Of course, there are some major fundamental problems here, especially around the whole characterization of Galadriel, as would an elf who spent centuries under the influence and teachings of Melian the Maya, and having lived a number of years, get fooled so easily? Alas, that is more of a theological question, but back to the matter at hand. Is it as easy as saying Halbrand is Sauron and the one big evil who has tricked and fooled everyone? We will get back to this question in a bit. The final character on this list is of course the one and only Meteor Man, also known as the Stranger, who is being played by Daniel Wayman. Meteor Man being Sauron, as explained in our Meteor Man video, has arisen from the fact that it looks like when he lands and is clutched on the floor, there seems to be an Eye of Sauron symbol around him, and whether this is intentional or not, we shall see. But another factor is that we realize that he might not be that good from one of our leaks, and the character himself might realize this later on in the season when he gets his memory back, as he seems to have memory loss and maybe soon realizes that after all, he is Sauron. Sauron at the end of the first stage did not get captured and went into hiding, but how he went from hiding to someone being in the sky and then subsequently falling back down in a meteorite is a question within itself, but it is a theory and a competent one nonetheless. In this video I have been saying a lot of "we will come back to this point we will get back to soon," and so on. I know it might be a bit frustrating, but there is a reason to this, which we'll get onto next, after this final bit. In the trailers, we have seen the supposed Mark of Sauron quite a bit, and in many different places. One here at this evil stronghold, one on the chest of Finrod potentially, and one here on Theo's sword, interestingly enough. This mark is appearing everywhere and not in one place, and has been a common theme, representing the subtle threat of Sauron and that evil has not gone away yet. Which leads me to my final point of this video, the concept of horror and fear, which is fundamental to this argument. Horror means body and fear means spirit, quote, spirit indwelling a body, and of course here we will be talking about Sauron's body and spirit. We will be getting into spoiler territory here, as well as we cast ourselves back to this leak from a while ago where we revealed, quote, the hooded figure and Morley's character Adar also face off against each other. The hooded and robed figure we are talking about here, according to our leaks, is Sauron supposedly, and both these characters, Sauron and Adar, face off. Just want to point out that this next part and following parts is speculation. So, who could this hooded and robed figure be? Well, from the candidates we have from above, Meteor Man of course gets ruled out, and this leaves us with the priestess who is indeed wearing a hood and a robe, and then of course Halbrand, who might be hiding his identity and could have easily put in a hood and robe on so he doesn't get found out. They both fit this scenario and this hooded and robed figure, but we learn from this leak that they are facing off against each other, so does this mean Adar is not Sauron if he is facing off against Sauron? Well, I will admit we did not reveal everything from what we were told of that moment, and that sentence actually continues, but the reason we didn't release it is because we have no other confirmation, and it sounded crazy back then, and it didn't really make sense. We originally released this scoop on the 7th of November 2021, and here we are at the start of August, days out from the premiere, and here is the part of the puzzle that was left out and missing, and the sentence fully formed is, quote, but the hooded figure and Joseph Morley's character Adar also face off against each other, but potentially comes together with him. We have received no confirmation or context since then, so this could easily mean that they settle their differences and come together in union, and the reason we didn't add this part is because it's quite contradictory, but potentially comes together with him. This quote, could this be the Fëa and Horror, the spirits of Sauron coming together as they adopted different Horrors, aka bodies, which is why, as I said at the end of the Halbrand passage, is it as easy to say Halbrand is Sauron, or that the witches are Sauron? Do all these characters have a part of Sauron's spirit, aka Fëa, in them, which is why it is not as easy to say Sauron is, for example, Meteor Man, Sauron is Halbrand, Sauron is Adar, maybe because they are all Sauron in some small way. This could be far-fetched as hell and complete waffle, but the quote, but potentially comes together with him, is the point I want to leave with you guys as food for thought. Maybe you guys can conjure and create scenarios and possibilities with this line better than I can right now. Personally, I still don't think we can confidently pinpoint who Sauron is or attribute him to a particular character and it be that character end off, for the chance that there could be something larger at play here in the form of Fëa, as he might have many spirits in different characters. Still, so many questions left unanswered, and from September 2nd we will know the truth. Thank you guys for watching, I really appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe and let us know of your thoughts on all these theories listed above and who you think Sauron is. Until the next video my friends, goodbye.